I had somebody reach out to me and say, hey, I thought you were a hospice chaplain, but in one of your videos, I saw you in a hospital recently. Do you have another job? And I was like, oh no, I'm hospice. I'm just working with G.I.P patients. And then it clicked to me, not everybody knows what G.I.P is. And so I thought I'd create a video to kind of give more explanation about how hospice can provide support to your loved one. So most people are familiar with hospice in someone's home or where they call home. So they might be in a LTC, a long-term care facility. They might be in a SNF, but it's wherever they call home. And I would say that's probably 90% of the patients that I care for. They are in their homes. But then there's 3 other levels of care that is offered to patients in hospice. The next is called continuous care. And this is when a patient has acute symptoms at home, but they can still be managed at home. And Medicare, this is a Medicare covered benefit, Medicaid covered benefit, will send a nurse out to your patient's house, to the patient's house, basically to provide continuous care, which is about 8 hours a day, but sometimes longer, whatever they need to do to get those symptoms under control and help to get that person comfortable again. That can be done in the home. It can be managed. Then there's actually respite care. And respite care doesn't have anything to do with the patient's medical condition. It has everything to do with the caregiver's needs. So let's say, for instance, you are taking care of your grandmother and she's on hospice. And you have a wedding that's coming up in Florida. It's your son's wedding, your daughter's wedding in Florida. And you need someone to take care of your grandmother because she can't travel to Florida. You could have them go into respite for up to 5 days, and they will assume the care of your grandmother. So you will take her to a respite facility for 5 days. You'll get a chance to go to the wedding, and you know that grandma is being taken care of. And again, Medicare and Medicaid is paying for that. So you've got routine care, you've got continuous care, and then you have respite care. And then you have where I work, which is G.I.P, which is general inpatient. This is very similar to continuous care in the fact that the patient has symptoms that can't be managed. Like it's acute symptoms that need to be addressed. But the difference is these symptoms can't be addressed at home. They have to be addressed in the hospital. So maybe it's an infection that might be septic, or they need a drip of some kind, some type of IV, some type of drip put in that could not be done at home. They're able to come into the hospital to get that type of care. Because again, hospice philosophy is that we want people to die comfortably and peacefully. And if you have sepsis, that ain't comfortable, okay? I've never had it, but I know enough patients who have. And trust me, that is painful and not the way that we want someone to go, right? So bringing someone into the hospital to make them comfortable is what G.I.P is. What I like about being able to have both, the ability to be in the field and to have G.I.P hospital responsibilities, is that in the field, I get the flexibility of creating my own schedule. I'm just going to be real with y'all. Being able to create my own schedule. Having a census of patients that I determine when I see them. I determine based off of their spiritual needs, how many times a month I see them. There's a lot of flexibility with that. And that is one of my favorite parts of being in the field. And however, in the hospital, I love the fact because I feel like I get to use more of my clinical skills that I paid a lot of money to acquire and still paying, because for those of you who don't know, I'm working on my doctorate degree at Vanderbilt in integrative chaplaincy. So I'm paying a lot of money to learn clinical skills. And I feel like in the hospital, I get to use more of those because I'm interacting with the families. The patient experience is very similar in the field and in G.I.P, but the family exposure is a little bit different in a hospital setting. And so I like being able to use counseling skills, to be candid. I like the opportunity to elicit values and help walk patients, families through anticipatory grief and helping them to make decisions that are value aligned and all of that fun stuff. So for me, it's the best of both worlds. as I've said before, if you are going to become a hospice chaplain, I would encourage you to go with a company that does have both so that you can get the experience, because you don't know, especially when you're just starting out, you don't know what you're going to prefer. You may end up wanting to work in a hospital setting. You want to make sure you have that experience. Yeah. And so being with a hospice company that allows you to do both community and GIP would be the way to go. All right, so I hope this answers some questions about the different levels of hospice and why, as a chaplain, you might want to be aware and how deciding where you might want to work. Because if you are serious about building a career, I think you need to keep as many doors open as possible. So having a variety of experiences will benefit you. All right, if you're new around these parts, my name is Leslie. I am taking you on the journey of what it's like to be a chaplain. I am creating videos that I wish were created when I first started this journey years ago. So like, subscribe, comment, all the things so that we can get this out to more aspiring chaplains. All right, friends, until next time, grace and peace.